What is up, vloggy vlog? Welcome back to my channel. This is the video that I and we did not think we're going to be making that soon.
At least for like 2 years.
At least for like 2 years, that was our plan. We're moving again. We're moving out of Texas. We have decided to break the lease and move out of our current house that we just moved into. We actually are going to be late to our first viewing today. I'm very excited. We already viewed a couple of areas around the hotel, and now we're gonna drive a little bit further out of the city to check out different area. So we gotta go. Let's go.
Okay.
So, we are staying in Miami and we are considering either moving to Miami or moving to Boca Raton.
Or do we just go back to California?
No. I am excited to try out Florida. So here's the thing. We were in Los Angeles for 7 years, and I think LA, or not think, like LA is kind of like Miami. And then we lived in Orange County for 2 years, and I have a feeling that Boca is
Kind of like that.
kind of like Orange County vibes. So we started off with just viewing some areas of Miami this morning because we had a workout class, but we didn't see any properties. We're kind of leaving it for the later during the week, and today and tomorrow we're seeing some properties in Boca Raton. So far, what's your...
It's quiet. Just leaving Miami, Miami was so busy and Miami's so
Stressful.
crazy, and this is just chill vibes. It's like Newport.
It's very clean. We haven't seen any homeless people. We do have a baby on the way, so that's something to keep in mind. It's not just me and you. Like, there's going to be a little human that we need to make sure is safe.
And this feels like a really safe area. It's super walkable, but the problem is there's like nothing to walk to. Like there's nice sidewalks, and it kind of like the place just looks like the whole place looks like a golf course.
So we saw a couple of houses here. We saw townhouses. They're all 3-bedroom,
Yeah, 3-bedroom, 2 or 3 baths.
3 baths.
Yeah.
3-bedroom, 3 baths. One of them was bigger with a 2-car garage, and 2 of them smaller.
We really messed up. Our house now is insane. Like if you wanted to find a house here that looks like the house we have in Texas, it would cost us
$15,000.
Yeah, or more. It's ridiculous for the same price as what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
So now everything that I see here, I'm just like,
No, those are nice houses, but they're
cool,
very
but it's not the
basic
same.
houses. They're very cookie cutter, like the same house we actually in Texas. The first house we saw in Austin was kind of like the cookie cutter house, just like those and bigger.
Yeah.
And it was $2,400, you guys. $2,400. So it's a huge difference. Definitely the area, of course, it's much nicer.
Yeah.
The amenities that this complex has is really great. Obviously,
the gym's awesome, the pool's awesome, but we're still like 15 minutes from the beach,
which is fine. But I think right now we are in Texas, where it gets very hot, and some days you have -2 degrees Celsius, and some days you have 120 degrees Celsius Fahrenheit. So you never know what you're in, but being so hot and not being able to be near the water is a little bit annoying. So having a pool here and being able to just walk to the pool to lay out and tan and enjoy the water, or just drive to the beach, obviously would be much nicer. So today this was the only property that we have to see. We are going to drive to the 2 houses that I also had in mind, just to see the area, because we have an appointment for tomorrow. But if we don't like the area, of course we're going to just cancel and not do that. And then we're going to explore Boca a little. We're going to get lunch. I'm absolutely starving. Go see the beach, and kind of see how this whole area looks like. Second, I don't know, like we've been just literally running from a house to house and checking out different areas, but this is our second day.
Yeah.
We decided we want to come down one more day to Boca / Delray Beach area to look at the properties here and different areas. There was a couple areas yesterday. I don't know if we were talking about it yesterday. I don't think we summed up today, but we kind of drove around and found a couple of areas that we really enjoyed, but unfortunately, you know, me and my European bouginess and what I like is not necessarily always what is affordable and what is within our budget. So unfortunately, the areas we saw, the couple houses that were in the areas and were trying to view, were unfortunately already rented out. Of course, they were a steal because they were within a reasonable budget, and
I think they weren't even real though.
I think
a couple of them were too good to be true, and it was just a real estate guy like listing his house with really nice photos for super cheap so he can get
I don't
more
think
clients.
so. One of the houses I saw being listed for a very long time, I just think they forgot to take it down, but I had it on my favorite list for like a very long time.
I don't trust these guys.
Maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure. We saw another house this morning that had a pool and what else did it have? A pool.
It had a really nice garage.
But it was quite dark.
We've been like way more focused on the areas though and less on the houses, just trying to find some area that we really like.
Yeah, I think that's the main mistake we've made in Texas. That well, you would be fine there, but I think we just got sold on the house and we loved the house so much that we decided to like kind of not pay attention to the area as much.
But then we were talking about it today, how you can have a really nice house, but if you can't go anywhere, it just starts to feel like a really nice prison.
Yeah.
Which I feel bad complaining about that house because it is beautiful, but I completely understand why you kind of feel enclosed there.
In a cage. So right now we're focused on an area that's more walkable. And you had a good point, which you just said.
If the house isn't by the beach or walking distance to the beach.
Not even the beach, but like things. You know?
Yeah, the things that we want to do. Like, we just don't want to have to jump into the car every single time we want to go anywhere. And there's a ton of really nice options that we've seen, but they're just really not. There's really not a ton of nice options in really walkable areas. So it's kind of putting us in a bad position where we have to choose between something really nice and a modern interior in a less desirable location, which we kind of already know that doesn't work for us.
I don't know if we have any clips. I think you did. We saw yesterday a tiny house in Delray Beach that was like 1,000 square foot in a good location, like walkable location. The location, the neighborhood wasn't the nicest.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd really consider that walkable.
But it was walkable to stores, to cafes, to like workout stuff. It was very close to like downtown, like I don't know what the street is called, but the street with like all the restaurants and stuff in Delray. But then if I'm paying so much money for 1,000 square foot house, which is obviously a tiny house, and I can have a nice apartment in Miami with nice amenities that also is going to have walkable areas because you can go downstairs
to your berries class every day.
Yeah, so on the first day we did berries, the second day like right after we arrived, and we parked the car and we walked to our workout, then we walked to the grocery store, we walked to get coffee, and then we went back to the car, and that just felt good. Or like even walking out of the hotel this morning, we went to CVS and we walked, and it's like 3-minute walk, and you just like get out of the house more and walking more. So I think you are very right of saying that for me, especially with my mental health, is I think a lot of it has to do with walkability of the area.
So that's what we got. It's got to be a beach home or it's got to be in the city. But then it's also like, do we want to be in the city with a baby?
Right. But we didn't see Miami yet. The area we're staying at is definitely a no-go for a stroller or a baby. But we know obviously that there is nice areas of Miami that we are going to start exploring tomorrow. So today we don't have any more viewings, right?
Yeah, just
we're just gonna drive, and see the areas. But tomorrow we're gonna start exploring Miami, and I'm actually really excited because I don't think we need a giant house though, but I also do not feel comfortable paying the same amount of money for 1,000 square foot house as I will for 1,000 or over 1,000 square foot apartment with just way nicer amenities, you know. And apartments, another thing about apartments that I realized, because the hotel we're staying at, it's kind of like a 2-bedroom 2-bath apartment. Every apartment is going to be really bright in those skyscrapers.
Yeah, because they're high.
Because they're high and they have big, what it's called, like floor to ceiling windows, which is important for obviously shooting content and stuff. A lot of houses that we saw were very dark, and because we work from home and whenever we don't travel, we do spend most time at home. And obviously with baby coming, there's going to be a couple of months where we're going to be home a lot. Yeah. And I think natural light has a big impact on my mental health. So here is where we are, checking out Boca one last time, and tomorrow we're starting in Miami. you guys. So this is day.
I have no idea. Too many days.
Every day just blends in, but this is, I think, day 3 of us exploring different areas. Yesterday I told you guys, I think we said that we are moving on from Boca and we're going to start exploring more of the Miami areas.
Which we spent all morning kind of going through Miami Beach, which was sick. And now we're running through Coconut Grove and what's else?
Yeah, but let's pause and talk about Miami Beach for a second.
Okay. Well, I thought you loved it.
I did.
I felt like this morning we were. This is the problem. Like we'll see somewhere and we'll be like,
no.
That's where we have to be.
Oh no.
And then 5 minutes later, we'll just change our minds.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
This guy, he literally drove into Miami Beach. We did a workout class there and then drove around, which I'm glad we did because we literally drove the entire island from the south to the north.
It's a lot bigger than I thought it was.
It's a lot bigger, but also kind of small. I was telling Randy that when we lived in Beverly Hills, it's like a bubble within Los Angeles, so you don't feel the struggles of the Los Angeles city.
Yeah.
And you live in your bubble, you have your grocery stores, your gyms, like everything is there, so you don't have to leave that bubble, and it's very walkable. So we're trying to find that bubble here. And I think we have decided this morning that we will prefer Miami over Boca.
Yeah, I think that we just kind of have like a couple years before the baby's going to be looking for schools and
we need to actually settle down.
Yeah, and we can deal with like it being a little bit busier, I feel like, and we still want to travel as much as we can in the next couple of years, so it makes more sense to be right next to the airport. I like Boca though, and I like Delray, and I could definitely see myself there. But
I think in a couple of years, I think that's like a settle down place. It's more like buy a house and stay. It's kind of like, it's even calmer than Newport, I think. There's, I think, a little bit less to do than Newport.
But we might if we do South Beach, we might try it and then hate it immediately and say, oh, this is too much, terrible decision.
See, so we are staying in like downtown area, but like the nicer part of downtown, and we immediately knew that that's definitely not a go with a stroller, and it's not walkable because it doesn't feel safe. Like the cars are driving crazy. It just feels very hectic and stressful to be there, like even driving around. And then driving in Miami Beach, there's traffic everywhere in Miami. But it was beautiful. It was so clean. I'm actually genuinely shocked how clean Miami Beach is, because in my head I was imagining Venice.
Yeah, it's nothing like it. We were driving around looking for like homeless people, and there's just no one to be found.
Yes.
So it's actually kind of ridiculous that they can keep it so clean. Very
clean, very organized. Everything is very walkable.
But this is the off season and it's busy.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in the summer. But also it's like, I don't know if we should consider that even because we're never here in the summer.
That's
like we spend every summer in Europe anyway. Yeah.
Because I will be very far along pregnant. But we're saying that we drove around and we kind of know where the cutoff is from where we would be looking on the south side of the island. But our friends who live here completely tried to discourage us and advised against.
Yeah, but that was because
Miami
they
Beach.
said it's not good for a toddler, right? Which I completely understand. Like that's not where we're gonna be. But like, I just have the next 1 year in mind for Miami Beach.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna be in Miami
like a
Beach after that.
You can just like take it under your hand and
in
just
the stroller,
go wherever.
walk up the beach.
Not
like
even
that's
the stroller.
fine.
You can just put the carrier on. Like, you know, like the kid is not going to be walking for multiple months after. So we have a while.
And they said, hey, you can do that, but you're going to end up in Coconut Grove because they have the best schools. That's where you're going to want to be.
And that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
And we checked out a couple of houses that apparently were in Coral Gables, which apparently is a very nice area. And this was the first time in Miami that I was actually scared.
But it was definitely a very poor, area of Coral Gables.
I was genuinely shocked for the first time in Miami because I have not seen any homeless. I didn't feel any danger or like dirt, really.
Yeah.
So when we drove there and saw those houses, I'm like, are we sure we have the right address? Because this does not look what Coral Gables is supposed to look like from what people are saying. But we drove a little bit further. Now we're in
Coconut Grove.
and
it's
this
gorgeous.
area
This
is
place
gorgeous.
is crazy.
It's trees.
Everyone talked about the
buildings,
trees. They're like, there's so many trees, and now
They're
I
hard
get
to
it.
miss.
It's ridiculous how many trees there are here. It feels like you're not in a major city.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels kind of like European a little bit.
Yeah.
It feels nice with the trees and a little bit of shade.
But it's pretty expensive too. Like, I think that Miami Beach would even be much cheaper for a lot of the options. So.
Yeah. So what we're doing basically today is just, and we learned from our mistakes from searching for a house in Texas. First, what we're doing, like the same thing we did in Boca, is just driving around and checking out the areas, and then scheduling the touring and like viewing the houses. So today we're kind of focusing on driving around, a lot of time in the car, focusing on checking out different parts of Miami, and then for the next couple of days we're going to schedule the tours and actually view the housing in that area. So
I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be Miami Beach or Coconut Grove.
this is really nice.
Yeah. I think that you get a little bit like, it's either do we want like a nice walkable town area that's not so busy during the summer, the traffic is hopefully not going to be terrible.
This is really nice in summer because of the trees. You get a lot of shade, and I'm assuming this is not as touristy. This feels more like
Home vibes.
rich, but like rich home vibes.
Yeah.
It definitely does not feel touristy.
Or do we just want crazy beach parties?
Yeah, no, this feels like this whole street and the trees, and there's like a beautiful park across the street from us. I mean, you guys are gonna see the B-roll of the streets. It's just gorgeous. So cheers to searching more.
We'll see by day 6 whether or not we actually know an area.
Where we want to live. We already extended this trip for 4 days.
Yeah.
So this is how our searches go.
So we left off this vlog with Brickell, right? And we toured that one location that was in Brickell. And then we didn't get any footage of touring a couple of the other places in Miami Beach. I think what we should do from here is now just kind of talk about all of the places that we saw. So Delray, Boca, Midtown, Brickell, Coconut Grove, and Miami Beach. And then take it from there and decide what you like. And ultimately, what we picked and why we picked it.
Yeah, I think we know what we like. I think I said in this video that Boca and Delray Beach are kind of like the OC of the southern Florida, and then Miami is more like LA. So obviously, I was extremely happy in OC. I'm not gonna lie that that's a great place to raise kids, and I think that's where we're gonna eventually end up. But the happiest I've ever been was where we left, and you know, that's like the thought process I had in the past couple of weeks, because I was actually like trying to narrow it down what I'm looking for. And the happiest I've been was when we left in Beverly Hills, and the reason for that is that we were able to walk everywhere, and it felt really freeing to be able to kind of break that cycle of like getting in a car to drive everywhere and like being able to get out.
And even just be able to grab like our daily coffee every single day and just grab that and go. It's
like
really...
even the little things.
I think for other people that doesn't matter as much because a lot of people don't work from home, But for us specifically, if we don't have something to break up our day, it's just like staring at a blank wall all day long.
But I also think as humans, we're just not meant to sit in four walls all day long. So even if people get out of their house and they work in the office and they still spend their entire 8 or 9 hours just in four walls, I just don't think we as humans are meant to do that. We need vitamin D, we need the sun, you know, we need like the outdoor exposure. And I think because where our world is heading is like we're not getting enough of that. And I think that was a huge contributor to like my mental health. And as soon as we started getting outside more, like even doing hikes in Austin and stuff, like I felt like I'm much happier just being outside. So that kind of eliminated Boca and Delray Beach.
And also I think the other reason, because it's like there's places in Boca and Delray Beach that are super walkable.
Yes.
But I think the issue with all of the properties that we saw that were in very walkable areas is they were way more dated than what we could find in Miami Beach. Yeah. I think that because Miami Beach is right now building up all of these, and Miami in general, Brickell as well, they're building up all of these, and especially downtown actually, they're building up all these brand new constructions with these super modern interiors, and that's what we kind of were looking for. And there's not a lot of options with that are walking distance to the water or walking distance to the like city centers in Delray and Boca.
Yes. All the properties we're looking at, they were mostly on the left side of the highway. There were a couple actually in this video on the right side of the highway, meaning closer to the water. And we were considering one of the houses, the one in Delray Beach, right? Because that was the one that we could make the walk to the beach.
And that was the one that had the pool. And that one only was about a 45-minute walk to get to the water.
But it was very dark. Yeah. The interior was very dark, and everybody says a pool in the house with a newborn baby and a toddler is like a big no-no.
And you lose out on, you don't have all of your amenities and stuff like that you would get in the apartment buildings.
So that kind of crossed off after deep thinking and conversations, Boca and Delray Beach. We don't know, maybe next year when our baby is a little bigger, we're going to move down there out of the Miami craziness. But we kind of decided to shift our focus. At the beginning, we're only actually looking in Boca and Delray Beach.
I think we spent way too much time there.
Too much time.
It was like 3 or 4 days.
We were so dead set, yes.
Yeah.
We were so dead set on being there because we loved OC so much, and we thought like with a baby it just makes more sense. But then we talked a little bit. We talked about how we should focus what's good for us for now, because the baby is not going to be doing that much for the first year. And we shifted our focus to Miami.
Okay, so now tell me, why are we not picking Brickell?
Brickell is quite expensive.
True.
Boca actually and Delray Beach, the areas like near the water, are very expensive too. Florida overall is much more expensive than I thought.
Yeah.
It's not as expensive as California, obviously, but not like Texas prices.
When you're looking for something that checks all those boxes.
Yes.
If you want luxury, walking distance to the water, that's still relatively big and has like all of these options, it's like you're not going to find anything that's very cheap. So we're not making it easy. I think there's a ton of options.
Absolutely.
There's houses that go for half of what we're even considering that are beautiful, and a lot of people would love them.
Yep.
But it just doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
So
from there,
I think you're just expensive.
Have expensive taste over the years. Randy, we've done enough of very crappy apartments for the first couple of years of our relationship.
So now it's time to have everything we want.
Now it's just time to kind of, be okay with splurging a little bit, because we've done enough suffering and like being uncomfortable, So now we want to be comfortable and happy where we are. That's why we moved out of Texas also, and not afraid to make that change. But Brickell, the apartment we saw was, it was big, but it was very dated. It was in a very dated building. The pool was very dated. The gym was very dated. It's just the whole apartment, other than being big, had absolutely zero appeal for me.
But the location was
The
incredible.
location.
It's right next to Four Seasons. We were walking into the apartment, and the entire Boston Celtics team was right outside in front of Four Seasons, right in front of us. So we were like, okay, this could be really cool to be here. It's right in the heart. There's walking distance to everything. But
I don't know if you got any videos of the kitchen and stuff. It's absolutely, for us, a big thing is obviously we're creating a lot of content. So the interior needs to be bright. It needs to be shootable. The kitchen was just the worst we've seen.
But they're going to tear down the entire building. So it was only a 1-year lease because they're going to tear down the entire building and bring up a new one. But it's clear on why they're tearing down the building.
And I also think Brickell is not a place for us. We don't party, and we've never been party people. And everybody says that Brickell is like the center where people go out, have drinks, party, which is not our crowd at all. We're kind of more chill and laid back and just want to, relax and be on the beach. So we kind of said no to Brickell.
So moving on, we have Midtown, which Midtown, I didn't put enough footage in because we didn't really get any footage of walking around Midtown. But if you are coming to Miami Beach, I would say that it's definitely worth a consideration. It's up and coming for sure. It's
actually not Midtown. It's Edgewater.
Oh, Edgewater.
Area,
sorry,
specifically.
Yeah. So this is it's walkable, absolutely walkable in a lot of areas anyway. The apartment buildings are all brand new and modern. The one that we did see was incredible. One of probably the nicest apartment building that we saw. Yeah. Like the one that we ended up picking.
It's only 1 year old.
Yeah.
It's brand new.
The one that we're picking is, in our opinions, for what works for us, a better location. But I would say that apartment building is nicer. So I would definitely check out Edgewater if I was you. We're crossing it off our list, just because we found what we think is a better option for us.
Yes, and I want to add, for Edgewater, you can find apartments that are nearly half the price of Brickell. You still have the water view because there's a lot of those brand new apartments that are right on the water. It is walkable. However, there is a very busy street, and there's no way to walk by the water. You kind of have to take those little
inlets, like
snakes,
islands,
things, so you have to come into the busy street. And actually, when we saw that apartment in Edgewater, we were dead set on taking it because the interior was so beautiful. It was a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, which was quite spacious with the view of the skyline of Miami, which is crazy nice.
So the 3 beds are the cost of the 2 beds in Miami Beach, I would say.
But it was smaller.
Yeah, it's a bit smaller.
But it
also had 15-foot ceilings.
Not the one that we were considering, actually. Was smaller, but 3-bedroom, 3-bath, but the rooms were much smaller than what we're getting in Miami Beach. But when we decided on it, I was going to bed and I actually had nightmares because you have to take the right to get out. There's only one street to get out, and it gets out on this crazy busy street. And if you guys are in Miami or have been to Miami, you guys know the drivers here.
They're pretty wild.
They're insane. And I know it's probably all the Latin blood flowing, they're just having parties in their cars and they're driving. I don't know. But drivers here are insane. There is a lot of beeping. There is a lot of aggression. There is a lot of cutting people off.
I'd say definitely worse than LA.
Oh, worse.
For sure.
No, I'm not saying worse that they're just crazy, wild. And when I was thinking that I have to exit that street to the main street with a baby in the back, or even walking the stroller when I go on the walks on this crazy busy street, I was like, oh my God, no. I had nightmare that night, and I was having a conversation with Randy. I'm like, I don't think I can do this apartment, even though it's so nice. I think it's way too crazy out there.
But single people, newly married, no kids, Edgewater, check it out. It's pretty cool.
So from there, we decided, we actually never considered Miami Beach. from the beginning, because we're like, oh, it's so expensive,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like it's on the water, so the prices are probably crazy. And the last day we were here, I was like, okay, let me give it one more shot, because I was so like not comfortable with this apartment in Edgewater.
Yeah.
I was like, let me give it one more shot, sit down and look. And I found one more apartment. We went and it crossed off pretty much
Every single box.
every single box. The interior is renovated, it's new, it's not as nice as the apartment in Edgewater, but the location just stole everything for us.
It's right on the water. We're able to have walking distance to all of our stores. It's tucked away in an area that's not really, really big with what you're going to see for the tourism and all the parties
Yep.
and all of that. So it's a residential area. And I just think that it's going to be the best move for us. Before that, we were looking really at just Coconut Grove was the only other option to be number 2 for us.
Very expensive.
I mean, that's it. Like
That's
the
what
reality
stopped us.
is that for what we want, we would have to pay so much money.
Yeah.
And you can get better options. But Coconut Grove is great, and that might be somewhere that in the next couple of years, if we don't go back to LA or to California.
If you guys watch our YouTube.
Yeah. If you like and subscribe, maybe I can afford the one we want.
Yeah, Coconut Grove is definitely a more child-friendly place, I would say. It feels very much like Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very much. It's like copy-paste of Beverly Hills.
But we ended up picking Miami Beach after a long week of very tough decisions.
And back and forth and crying and fighting a little bit even.
Yeah.
I think we were getting a little bit. It was stressful, of course, but I think it's a good decision. I know a lot of you that are from here maybe think Miami Beach is a little too crazy.
Which parts of it are, but I think that it has those pockets that are incredibly quiet, and I think that are going to be
And
good
we're
for
in
us.
bed by 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Like
We'll see. Maybe we're wrong. We thought that Texas was going to be perfect for us. Not really. We thought it was going to be good for what we wanted to do at the time. And it still might have been if things didn't change, but things might change next week for us, and that makes Miami Beach terrible. So we're open to it.
I just feel like for the last months of pregnancy, and actually a lot of you, when we told you guys when we were moving, everybody was so positive about it. Like everybody, it seems like people really love Miami and they're so welcoming. Everybody was just like, oh my God, like you're gonna love it. Like they were so positive about it that it really reassured me. And I think for the last few months of pregnancy and the first months of the baby, when we can't travel, obviously, it would be nice to have this like staycation. Like we are downgrading to an apartment and we have not left in an apartment in a very long time, but we stay obviously in hotels
But we've
all year
also
long.
never lived in an apartment this nice.
That's true. Our LA apartment was pretty nice.
Yeah, it was nice, but it wasn't this nice.
Not the location.
Yeah.
I mean, the location
Or even the
definitely.
amenities. Not even close.
Yeah, but we spent a lot of time in hotels, and I actually love staying in hotels. Right now we're staying in one room place, and I'm very comfortable. I know living and staying, it's way different, but we're kind of staying a lot.
Yeah.
So I think we have the reference, and I think we'll be just fine. We still will be traveling as much as we possibly can as soon as this little period of time where we can't is over,
Which will be the shortest period for Marta possible. The moment the doctor says, but you already are researching how to get our baby's passport, so I think you'll be fine.
Is out and traveling. So that's what our decision is for now.
You guys did not see the apartment in this vlog. Okay, so we are keeping that to ourselves for now until we give you guys like a full tour. So you are going to have to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you know when we put out that video.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're right. I think it's going to be a good move.
I think so.
So
now we need to just survive April. This is our first trip. We're back in Miami and we're heading to Bahamas tomorrow on a ship.
Yeah.
And then...
No, we'll talk about it in the next vlog, but this next couple of weeks is going to be
It's just going to be crazy. So let's survive this.
Yeah, I'll see you guys on... What is this video? This is going out tomorrow. Okay, so I'll see you guys again. We're going to be posting every Sunday and Thursday. So
we've been pretty good so far. So.
No, we're going to make it happen.
I mean, Randy has.
I'm sticking to it. Okay.
Love you guys, and we're going to see you in our next one. Oh, cute kiss.